you will complain or change. Those are the only choices that we have, and we're given those choices at birth. But we don't always want to change, and that makes it really, really difficult. So then what we resort to is complaining. And you can think back when you were a kid, for instance, and your parents told you to do something and you were going to complain about it until you probably gave up at some point and decided to change. And either you changed to get your way or to agree with them or whatever it might have been. But then when you grow up, you still have to make those choices. As you start to become that adult in your life, you want the ability to change, because the only way that you can accomplish what you want in your life is if you become willing to change. We all come into the world the same way, with all the abilities, talents, and gifts that are implanted within us. But we can't get there unless we're willing to change and access them. But many of us have been programmed to not do that, to stay where we were. And then what happens is we start complaining about the conditions of our lives and how horrible it is. We do the same thing in the world, though. And so you see, I'm talking about this today because I really want the people in my program to understand this, because they're having such a great time most of the time, but then other times it's really challenging because they're confronting things that they didn't want to look at before. You know, that shadow side that we all possess that we're not willing to always examine. But then when they do and find out the beauty of what they've experienced in their life, they completely change. It was so beautiful today. I met with 2 members today and I read them their birthday message. See, that's something that was really weird, and I couldn't explain that because when I received all this information that I put into my program, it was for this specific time in our world, which my guide said we would be moving through a restructuring, which means that we all had to restructure ourselves. Everything is created energetically. Everything in our lives and in the world, we do it all the same way. But if we're not willing to change and create something new, then we keep destroying who we are, our lives. We never become empowered because we're unwilling to change and discover who we are. I can talk about this because I didn't want to change at all. It's been really a struggle because I didn't want to tell people what I had done. And that seemed also really crazy. Why wouldn't you embrace and embody who you have become? I'm saying that because no one knows who they will become as they live their lives. You may have thought that you were going in one direction, then all of a sudden end up going in a different direction because you changed, because you understood something new. But this time is a little different because the world is changing, and so the energies are so immense and people are like freaking out. What's happening to me? See, I knew that would be going on because I was given all that information, which is why I had to do my work and create my program. That was challenging for me because I didn't want to change and tell people that I had really done this. Really doesn't make sense. But what I did was, for years, I've been doing this for 36, almost 37 years now, where I would sit down every day and I would receive this wisdom, this knowledge, cosmic wisdom that could change my life, because it did that. And I can, as a coach, I can only give people what I know works. And what worked was me every single day finding information, finding more clarity in who I am, who I was meant to be, so that I can give it to others. Because I know every single person is born with that ability to create this magnificent life, but they have to become willing to change. Otherwise, all they're going to do is complain. And I said something, a couple of weeks ago, that I really don't want people to come into my work unless they're willing to give that up, unless they're willing to own who they are, become their authentic selves, and work through all of the old stuff. We all have to do that. I've had to do that so much throughout my life, where I had to look at these limiting ideas and beliefs that I had accepted that I needed to move through to get to what I was meant to do, and that is really this work, to bring this into our world. See, this is what happened. I was told that I was given work to help us all move through a restructuring of our world, and we're seeing it occurring all the time. And then today, and I'm talking about this today because I really want you to look at the message that came up today, which said, you will complain or change. I'm like, but it came through in 2012. I'm thinking, how did that happen? When we get rid of this idea that we have about linear time and understand that we're always existing now, and we have the ability to access information in different ways, and we have the ability to change if we're willing to do that. But the reason it was so incredible today, because all of the information that I received said we were going to go through a complete change in our world. We might have wars. We might bring in, dictatorial leaders and all of that, because That's the struggle that's going on. Some people say the struggle between, dark and light and all of that. However you think of it, whatever you think of it, but it's about energy. And there is no more powerful energy than that of love. And so if you're not loving yourself, you're not adding to the world what you came to do. And I had to look at that. And I kept getting called out on it because it was something that I kind of kept to myself, because this was something that I did for so many years that transformed my life. But I thought nobody else is going to believe that, except now they are. And all of you, everyone has something within them that they could develop and bring to the world that would cause their lives to be really prosperous and happy and successful if they were willing to change and own who they have become. See, it's a process that we all move through, and it's in our consciousness. No person is born any less than another. It's just that we don't always accept who we are. So when I saw what happened today in the United States, because my guide said the United States would lead the way in this restructuring, first it was women, because women are trying to become the equal people that they should be. But see, then we're going to try to control them. We've controlled a lot of things. And then today, affirmative action was taken away. And I looked at that and I thought, this is the change that they're talking about. But we're going to have to decide about that. We're going to have so many issues that will come up in our lives and in the world that each person needs to know who they are and make that decision for themselves. And it's an energetic choice, and you will know the one that you're making for yourself, if it's the right one, if you want to use that term. It is the right one if you feel good, if you love yourself, and if you are moving on and creating something. The work that I have is about taking people through all the restrictions and doubts and fears that they've had in their lives to discover what they are meant to do, and then start to do that, create a career, create something that's going to give you joy, happiness, and then you're making the contribution in the world and you're changing. And then you're no longer complaining. And when we complain about what's going on in the government, same thing. We are the government. We could decide that we're going to change and create something better. So taking away some of the things that maybe gave us cover or insurance about, we're going to be okay because of that, that might be a good thing. Because now we have to rely on who we are. We have to develop what is within us, because every person has it. God didn't create any people without that ability within them. But we do come in with these limitations, and I had all of them. But I didn't know I was going to turn into a mystic or a sage, and I didn't know that I'd spent all this time writing out this information that completely transformed and healed my life that I can give to others. And I talked about that so much, and people think that is a little, how could that happen? But the people in the program are already proving that that is happening. But I want you to understand, whoever you might be, I want more of my members to listen to this, but anyone else who is listening, you have come into the world with something within you that's meant to be developed and given to the world to cause your life to become magnificent. Every single person. And the only reason that you would not experience that is because you're unwilling to change. And I know, because I was unwilling to change for a long time until I knew that I had to. And sometimes you will feel that because you become so frustrated with yourself because your life hasn't changed. Then you finally accept the responsibility and know that it's in your hands and you are the one who can change. And then you will no longer complain.
I haven't done anything like this.
It's increased the confidence that I've had in myself.
Everything is better. I mean, every single aspect of my life. My income, the progress is just amazing. Like, you can see changes from week to week.
Introducing your last development program, Life Transformation for Success, the newest part of Roger Burnley's coaching series. In this 3-month online program, you will learn the mindset tools you need to dissolve the shame of your past, discover the gifts within you that make you important to the world, and get the confidence to rise above anything that stands between you and the life that you want.
Everything changed in my life. Everything. Every single thing.
It's time for you to reprogram your mind for success and become self-actualized. If you're ready to transform your life too, learn more at yourlastdevelopmentprogram.com today.